Now, joining me now is News Corp columnist Louise Roberts and royal commentator Angela Mollard. Now, Angela, with the benefit of hindsight, a slimmed-down royal family doesn't seem like such a good idea.
It doesn't, does it? I mean, if you think about it, in the last 4 years, they have lost the equivalent of half a soccer team. I mean, 6 members of the royal family, Meghan and Harry, have gone to America. Then, of course, we had Prince Andrew had to step back from royal duties. We then saw the death of the Queen. And now, of course, Charles and Kate are both out of operation. Look, I do think, yes, it is a slimmed-down monarchy and they will be overstretched. William particularly will be overstretched, but I don't see it really as a crisis. I think it's something that needs to be managed. Their charities, their public duties will obviously need to be managed, but they're not performing monkeys. They are human, and I don't think they've ever looked more human and less institutional than they do right now. And I think the other key point is that we might just have to lower our expectations of them. We now live in a 24/7 news cycle. It might now actually be time for us to step back as members of the public and say, no, we don't need to see them every day. The Queen, when she was pregnant, the late Queen, with the last 2 of her children, Andrew and Edward, she took months off work. So it's not unprecedented for members of the royal family to take some time off.
Absolutely. And look, I caught up with Peter Phillips earlier this week. This is what he had to say about the current internal support network within the royal family.
There's a lot of pressure on the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh at the moment, my mother, to be able to take on a lot more of, and the Queen, obviously, to take on a lot more of the responsibilities and lots more of the engagement perspective.
And we'll bring you that interview shortly. But Louise, off the back of what Angela said, doesn't this also mean extra responsibility for William and potentially for longer?
It does, Caro, because as the heir to the throne, the burden falls directly on his shoulders. I mean, Camilla has also been stepping up, of course, but she's 76 years of age. She also has a spouse who is battling cancer, so there has to be mitigation for her as well. And I think to Russell's point about the rest of the family pulling together and perhaps looking at the calendar of events, what is the most critical for the royals to be seen at, and what involves the most travel, what's the most arduous task, and making sure that these are shared equally amongst people who perhaps aren't at home looking after someone who's battling cancer. I really think it's time for everyone to pull together, and we know that's what the royal family does very, very well. It's a shame in a way, of course, that Harry's not there. I mean, I would argue that now is a good time for him to sort of fly in under the radar and do some work quietly in the background to support his father, support his brother and his sister-in-law. But whether that happens will remain to be seen, I think.
Absolutely. And Angela, on the question of Princess Catherine's privacy, obviously just discuss it with Russell, it has been a huge issue. You wrote about it for the Daily Telegraph this week.
That's right. I was reminded of a time back in 1993 when the Princess of Wales, the former Princess of Wales, Diana, was caught out in a gym. There was a gym owner had put a camera in the gym and taken pictures of her. Massive breach of her privacy. She won a legal case to have those pictures withdrawn so that they could never be used again, and the fee that was going to the gym owner was donated to charity. And it felt this week, as Russell was saying, when those the allegations of staff looking at the Princess of Wales medical records, it felt like we were back there again. This very febrile environment where people want information and they feel that there is no boundaries. I think part of the reason is because we are now living in a culture of oversharing. Social media encourages people to overshare, but that doesn't mean that everyone wants to participate in that.